Hello, Phantomaniacs! Welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. I was not sure if Heavy Duty was going to get here in time to make it into this week's reviews, but so I've talked very poorly about DHL, and they're still not my favorite delivery service, but I will say they seem to be getting a little better. My problem with Hasbro Pulse is that they used to use FedEx, and when they did, my stuff would get here in about 2 days from when it was shipped. And when they first switched to DHL, it was taking 10 days or more. But they seem to have gotten it, I don't know if this is just happenstance, but I feel like the last couple have gotten here within 5 days, which is not 2 days, but is reasonable. So that's a good thing. So Heavy Duty is going to be part of this week's reviews, obviously, since you're looking at it right now. I'm excited because I can't wait to see this big, crazy contraption that they've included with him. Now, this is not, I don't even have an original Heavy Duty, although I do have, I guess from Valor versus Venom era, right around there, I do have a Heavy Duty from then, but it's not, I don't think it's very reminiscent of this one. You know what? I'm going to take a little pause here, imperceptible to you, and go look through my figures real quick and see if I've got, because I know I've got Heavy Duties because he essentially replaced Roadblock at that time. I might have one that's sort of similar to this. So I'm going to pause, but you won't even know it. Okay. There are two. I've got one more. And there is the first Heavy Duty figure that I got that's based on the tooling of the original. This one came with the Mobat in 1998. All right, let's put those to the side because we got to take a look at this one first. But we'll do a little, well, I don't know that these two big behemoths really need any comparison, but certainly we'll compare it to this guy. So in 1998, when I got that first Heavy Duty figure, I just didn't know, because after I've said before many times, both on Audible Interlude and here, I checked out a Joe. I have to say 88, because I got my last two Joe figures in 88, Storm Shadow and Hit and Run, and then just really was not cognizant of what was going on with the line at all after that. So the last 5 years, I've stayed since 97. I've been in Joe, but I never really went back and looked at those 89 to 94 years. I just didn't do it. Man, these are really cool. Like, I knew what I knew and what I loved from the 82 to 87 that I was, deeply into. Had definitely most of Hasbro's products from that time. And just never, for whatever reason, never looked at the rest of it. And I think it was because I, like many Joe fans my age, looked at stuff from after 87 or 88 or whatever, and just thought it was all silly, brightly colored. That's the typical, the rote statement of like, oh, it just got too goofy or whatever. And I definitely was that guy for a long time, but because my tastes are different now. I appreciate that stuff. But, also because I didn't actually look at the toys. I was just kind of going off of the few things that I had seen, and to be fair, probably off of the tone of the Joe community to a certain extent. Because that was the prevailing, among people my age, that was the prevailing sentiment for, I would say, almost 20 years. Maybe more. And then what I have found since doing Audible Interlude is there's a whole, and it makes sense, and I should have known it, but I just, as you get older, you get more, or hopefully you get more thoughtful. But I had never considered that there was a whole generation of Joe fans. I mean, I knew about the Joe fans before me that were into the 12-inch figures or Super Joes or whatever. But I never really considered, and look, this speaks to a larger problem in our world and our society. I never considered the generation after me. And sit and think about that statement for a moment, if you like. If you don't want to, that's okay too. I don't like whatever this is. I don't like this little piece that I'm gonna have to figure out. I think it's his headset. So only in the last, since, and again, as you get older, you get more thoughtful, but also since doing Audible Interlude and doing deeper dives into areas of Joe outside of what I knew and loved, I've realized, like, oh my gosh, there are people 10 years younger than me who also grew up with G.I. Joe. And of course, beyond that, there are people who first discovered Joe in the Spy Troops era. Like, there are generations of fandom, and they all deserve to be served and to have the things that they want be made. So anyway, in 1998, when I got that first Heavy Duty, I just thought it was some new character named Heavy Duty. I had no, because I wasn't on the internet like in the way that most people think of someone being on the internet until like 2005-ish, maybe. I just had, I was out. Like, I was not a guy sitting at home on my computer. And I'm not saying that in a demeaning way, because I'm envious of those that taught themselves how all of this stuff that we have to deal with in society today works. Because, again, a lot of people my age were making efforts to adopt the internet and understand what was going on. Well, Noel from Audible Interlude, like, he was a guy who was, he is, always has been internet savvy. And I've never caught up entirely. I say from my YouTube video, but trust me when I tell you, I am not caught up. This all seems very scary because there's some relatively thin. Ooh, I like seeing these metal pieces here, though. That's sturdier than we see sometimes with these things. Now, you used to see metal rivets like this all the time in like Kenner Star Wars stuff, well, in the 90s. But now, these days, it seems so often that it's just like, well, we'll pop a plastic peg in there and it'll be good enough. And it's not good for the structural integrity of the thing. So it's really nice to see these metal rivets in here. And as I'm talking about them, I'm kind of realizing what a big deal that is. Because if you think about it, like, again, think about this statement. It is somewhat unusual to see these. It's all just plastic pegs that really don't necessarily work all that well now. Oh, this rig is great. This is so, like, Kenner Aliens, and I love it for that. Okay. So, what, 10 minutes in or whatever, we finally got the figure out of the box, but I've had some reminiscing to do as we've gotten there. So I'm guessing, how big is this fellow? Here is my average size Dusty. So you can see Heavy Duty's a little bit bigger. I was going to wonder, I mean, this is probably Sarge's, for the new Sergeant Slaughter that comes with Mercer. I would imagine this is the shirt they're using, although it doesn't seem, I don't know. I mean, he's bigger, but he's not Sarge bigger. But surely this is the same tooling. Maybe even the, gosh, this camo is beautiful. But anyway, size-wise, you can see he's a little bigger than your average classified figure, which I appreciate. The camo is beautiful. This is one of the things I was excited about. If you recall, one of my earliest constant complaints about the Classified series was how subdued the camouflage was and that there wasn't enough contrast, and it wasn't interesting to look at. You would have like a dull brown on top of a dull green that from 5 feet away wasn't even recognizable as camouflage, although maybe that's let's not get into that. This is some great looking toyetic camouflage. I love it. And they've done as good a job as they possibly can of getting it around the sides of the legs. You know, with the way tampos are applied, that's always one of the challenges, is getting the sides to look right. And they've done a good job with it. The coverage of this camo is great. The colors are great. I'm thrilled. He looks awesome. I also appreciate we've got the paint on the web gear. We've got the gray on those grenades here. We've got the green right here. So that's a nice touch. And this gold necklace looks nice and gold. Kind of Brahma Bull looking. The portrait, to me, is reminiscent of Ice Cube's kid. I like the chain. The thickness of the chain is not unreasonable. You know, at this scale, it's often difficult to get necklaces and things to look right unless they're just sculpted onto the figure. And of course, the whole reason this is a separate piece is so they can reuse all of this tooling. What do we got on the hat here? Shred head. And look at this different color under the bill. That's very 90s. Well, I mean, this is very 90s, but this is very 90s. I like them incorporating that into it. He looks great. What a great figure. Even without his giant, crazy contraption, like, this is just a cool looking Classified figure. It's something different. He has a very different look. So let's do a little comparison to, again, not the original version, but the 1998 repaint. With, I have to say, also some very cool camouflage. I like it. So on the back, the hat just says Joe on this one, which I will assume was the same on the original. The portrait, look at that. I mean, relatively similar portraits. I don't think we've quite achieved the knife on the Classified version, but I'm okay with that. Once you start having knives in the chest area, you have two choices: either just sculpt it in and then it's weird because everybody else has removable knives, or oh, he's got the Joe Pro, but it's not painted. That's disappointing. I mean, easy enough to slop a little blue paint in there with some white in the middle, or whatever the color is on the other ones. That's got to be an error, because that's clearly one of the Joe Pros. But anyway, back to the knives. You either sculpt it in as part of the thing, which is disappointing, or you have like a hilt sticking out, which it just doesn't quite look good to me. He does have a Joe belt buckle on that original figure that isn't on this one, and that's a little disappointing. It's not a huge deal. I don't care that much, but it would have been nice to see. So yeah, I mean, you can see just purely tooling wise, they've done a good job here. Gosh, very happy with him. All right, let's go ahead and put these knives in there. We've got a pair of knives, just two of the same thing. Cool design. Go ahead and pop that in that leg sheath. And then the other one goes up here. There we go. Very nice. Fits in well. I did notice in the packaging, and I haven't gone back to look at it, the elbows aren't quite the same color as the surrounding skin, which the figures have been much, and you can see it in the front as well here. It's not a huge deal, and it really doesn't bother me. It's not as bad as some of the older ones were, but also we've seen improvement in that lately to where I can't remember noticing it in maybe a year, but whatever. He has also got fists for punching, which I like, but I'm not going to be using them. Oh, and look, you can see, same deal. So this plastic came out of the same tool as the elbow pieces. I love that he came with these, but I'm not going to be using them because he's going to need to manipulate his big crazy rig. Alternate portrait with no hat, which is a look at the fade with the cuts. This is excellent, and I hate to not use it, but I mean the hat is too good. Well, and also the hat is I think central to the character. Well, not central to the character. You know what I mean? Central to the look. So as awesome as this portrait is, it's going in a bag because the hat is just great. One more look. One more look at that flat top. Look at that. Ah, he is so 90s. I love it. Pop this head on a blade body, maybe. I don't know. Okay, now let's stand him. Oh, I didn't do the plastic test. All the plastic felt good, and all the plastic is moving well. Oh, yeah, those knees. Look at those knees move. Woo! Great. And I didn't really look at the detail on the boot either. I like the olive going down the side there. Really good looking boots. Okay, stand him off to the side and let's figure this contraption out. I wish I hadn't thrown the box away because this might require some reference shots. Man portable heavy weapon system. Look at this readout little. Is that a keyboard on the back? This is wild. I love it. Very well done. Got a little peg in the back once we get it on him, but we're going to wait to do that. This thing is absolutely bonkers. So these come off. Okay, these can be removed, but do not need to be. Oh, and they do snap back into place, so that's nice. So we've got options here. We can either put these up top or on the bottom. I do not know which way is which way to orient them. I'm going to put these on the bottom because I think I like the rocket launchers being up top. I don't know if that's oriented correctly or not. You know what? I'm not going to get the box for reference. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, just like I would have when I was a kid. I feel like that should hook into that. Oh, wait. Oh, this is... Oh, that's that... What? Okay, wait a minute. I think I did that the wrong way. That goes like that, and then that. Aha! And then that'll go there. Okay, so that's how that works. Look at, I love the damage on the armor plating in the front there. Like they're demonstrating like, yeah, it's a good thing that plating is there or he would have been shot to pieces. Look at the paint on the padding on the inside, on the joysticks here with the red button on the top. I mean, this is a really nicely done piece with ports for blast effects. So these can be operated manually by the figure. So you can just hold these and be awesome. No, I guess that way. Which is, look, I'm giving him both just to do it because we need to see what that looks like. Be careful. These are very thin. Oh, they do have flexibility though. Okay, so this is cool. So this, everything up here is rigid plastic, but this is a softer plastic, so it has that flexibility. So yeah, something like that. You can do that if you want to, but I am giving this guy the rig because it's awesome. So pop that on there, and it takes a little force to get the peg into the hole there. It kind of feels like it doesn't want to go. I am not going to push this way because I don't want to put the stress on that peg. I'm going to do what I can to, there we go. Just want to be careful. So these, because of that ball peg, can be oriented kind of out a little bit. Pretty cool. So that's that wild thing. We'll put it on him in just a second. First, I want to get his headgear on and figure out that situation. So he's got the headphones, and then he's also got the eyepiece. Can you wear them both at the same time? Oh, the hat is going to help hold that in place. So that goes there. And then when we put the headphones on, I feel like that thing is going to plug into these a little bit, but that doesn't look like it's the case. And I don't know which way these should be oriented. Look, they've actually got, this is hollowed out, so these will go over his ears. So we'll hold that in place. I'll see how this fits, and then I'll figure out how to get that eyepiece on. Okay, so that fits nicely. And if you need to heat it up, you can heat it up. Maybe he can't wear both of those at the same time. Surely he can. He can, and don't call me Shirley. It doesn't go that way. Yeah, I don't think that headset is going to go across or go over the top of this thing. But that's also the only thing that's going to hold this in place. All right. I'm going to have to do it. I got to get the box. All right, no, looking at the box, it looks like he can't wear, and also I was putting that on wrong. It looks like he cannot wear both of those at the same time. I find, well, as much as I like the aiming reticle here. Yeah, okay, so that goes over his ear, and that's what's supposed to hold it in place. That just doesn't fit on that well anyway. Maybe it goes on the other head better. Oh, yeah. Look, it totally fits on that head because that hooks over the ear. So it doesn't really work with the hat. Which is okay because if you're going to have this ordnance right next to your head, while I don't necessarily believe these noise-canceling headphones are gonna save you, you know, I will choose those. Okay, so now time to get down to business. You just got to kind of slide him in there. Get that up into place. You know what this makes me want? So the peg doesn't go very deep into his back, but I think this will be snug enough to where it's fine. This makes me want the Power of the Force jetpack Boba Fett, if you remember that figure. I liked that figure. That was one of the like goofy things to come out of that era that I actually really dug. I would love to see that in Black Series scale. This is fighting me. Ugh. All right, here, let's do this. We're going to take that off. Can he wear... Oh, I don't know if he can wear his bandolier with... Yeah, look, he doesn't have that on with the rig. Okay. That's a wild distinction, but that'll also help that peg fit in a little better, I think. So bandolier comes off. Plug him in. Get that piece up. Push this piece down. While I'm slightly annoyed at this being kind of difficult, I also appreciate it because it's a more snug fit. So, oh man, so when you go to plug this in, this pops out. I don't know, if you try a little harder, you might be able to get it on there with the bandolier on, but I don't know. Okay, so I think everything is connected, everything is hooked up. This is just nuts. Is he going to be able to hold these? He is going to be making maximum use of all of his joints here. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I appreciate this having a little more snug fit, because otherwise he might just be kind of flopping around in it. All right, so get a finger through there to get that. Oh my gosh. Let me just open that hand up and get that. There we go. Okay, so that's not the position I totally expected, but it does work. The problem now is going to be I can't get a finger through to hold that in place. Man, it is a good thing they made these control sticks hinged. Otherwise, this would not be happening. Okay. So now he's in his crazy rig. And again, just more Kenner aliens than anything. And as I said, I am good with that. Let's straighten him up a little bit. Get the headphones on. I don't know if the headphones are going to fit on. Oh, the sides kind of hold the headphones in place in a weird way. Look at that. Okay. This is crazy. And now we got to get down to the business of putting these rockets on this fella. And I'm just going to do that quickly. So supposedly these go in. Now, if you put these in, they're just going to... Yeah, these don't really work any better. I feel like I remembered them saying that these were designed to work better than metalheads, and that's just not. They're still floppy in there. That's not the case, which is disappointing. I'm guessing there are... Well, I think Christian from the show might have even purchased some metalhead rockets that fit better. And I'm going to be tempted to do the same because these blast effects are simply not as impressive as what came with Metalhead. And these are little tiny... They look good. But I generally don't put my figures on the shelf in mid blasting. Like, I don't use a lot of blast effects. It's just not a thing I do. But Metalhead stuff all looked so good that I did put him on the shelf like that. I don't think I'm going to do it for heavy duty because that doesn't look as cool to me. I'm probably just going to display him without the missiles at all. Invention number 2 in D minor. Okay. So there he is. Heavy duty. An awesome addition. Oh, I just noticed I like this padding for when he's using these, like the shoulder guards. That's a nice touch. And you could also presumably have blast effects back here. But anyway, he's great. He's absolutely great. I love this addition to the line. I would love to see them execute some of the, I can't remember what they're called, the weapons packs, the little motorized weapons packs in this same way. I'd love to see them. And I'm actually kind of surprised that this wasn't one of them. Like, this could have been like the pom-pom gun or something, which this is better, don't get me wrong. But I would love to see some of those. Maybe we could get, see, that gets into tough territory because I would love Alpine with the, whatever the mountain climbing rig was, but then we don't need another Alpine unless it's a retro card back. Whatever, I can't get too deep because I've gone way too long in this review. Here's Heavy Duty. He's awesome. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things, and until next time, buy what you like.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.